Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sip on This. I'm Matt.
No, I'm Emad.
I'm Cuan.
So today we're just going to go into a couple PPC topics, discuss it, get a little bit technical, give you our thoughts on Google, bidding strategies, PMax,
Definitely.
and see where the convo takes us. So it's going to be a bit more technical today with the big boys, but we got this covered.
I know we get a couple of hot questions that always come through our way. I know the main one for me is the ad recommendations tab inside of Google Ads.
Our personal enemy, but
Yeah. What do you think about it?
for recommendations, like it's a tough one because you're in there, the client's in there, the client's seeing it. They're thinking, oh, why is this guy not touching this? Or if he's like, you know,
Why hasn't it been actioned?
Huh?
Yeah.
Why hasn't it been actioned?
Yeah.
Like Google's giving me all these recommendations and saying, if I click this, I'm going to get 20% increase on this. So why are these guys just leaving it? And for me, like it's tough because one, the Google AI doesn't really understand the goal of the account. Like their goal is to increase revenue for themselves. Like you spending more money is their KPI. So a lot of those recommendations just center around increasing the budgets. And then obviously not fully understanding what your business is and who you want to target and how you want to be perceived in the market. There's a lot of irrelevant recommendations.
Like clients are also seeing that the recommendations aren't being applied, but then Google reps are also sort of telling the clients that they should be applied in their end as well.
Yeah.
They push it.
Yeah.
They push it. And
Yeah.
I find like not only are a lot of the recommendations centered around budget and centered around increasing volume so you can spend more, but the projections, they don't make any sense.
No, they don't.
Like you're averaging $50 cost per leads. They tell you to increase your budget by $200 a day for 1.34 extra leads a week. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't.
I feel like the recommendations are super basic, and they're almost like blanket recommendations applied to every single account. Like we have some really, really sophisticated accounts, some big advertisers, and we have some smaller businesses.
Yeah.
But I think what I feel is it's the same type of recommendations applied to all accounts. They don't have any account tiering depending on the size of the account, what they're spending, things like that.
No,
You see the same?
Yeah, no, I see the same. So
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of it's just to sort of like you're targeting a lot more broad
Yeah.
and give the AI sort of more control as well.
Yeah.
I find that one of the things with it as well is you'll have to dismiss the recommendation
Yeah.
for your optimization score to increase.
Yeah.
But now I think they're pulling reports on dismissed recommendations,
Oh wow, yeah.
which is something new, I guess.
Yeah.
If you were to give a percentage of how often you apply a recommendation that you see in the tab, what would you give?
Less than 2%.
Wow. What about you?
Not even like
Yeah, the only recommendations I would apply is more to do with budget. Like if it's limited by budget, then I would probably look into applying that.
Yeah.
Sometimes setting a target, like a target ROAS or a target CPA.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really apply any.
the thing you also got to be mindful of with those budget increases is sometimes they're so drastic.
Yeah.
It completely ruin the campaign.
Yeah.
Like you may have a really high performing campaign that's getting a good ROAS, good CPA, like, but they're saying, yeah, there's a little bit more volume if you up the budget, but then you up the budget more than that 20% and it can just go crazy and then you tank the campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you're
exactly.
working backwards to try and fix it.
And you see like a lot of those recommendations, they get centered around PMax, right?
Yeah, they do. And PMax is another questionable thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like full disclosure, we have PMax campaigns that crush it, right?
Yeah.
For some
Definitely.
clients,
Yeah.
they serve their purpose and they crush it. But
Especially remember when it first came out,
Yeah.
like before everyone had jumped on it.
Yeah.
If you ran PMax, you would instantly be getting like 12x on your campaigns.
and
And it was just insane.
because the inventory wasn't so saturated.
Yeah.
They didn't have every single advertiser on it
Yeah.
at the time. But I think now, very much like the Google ad recommendations tab, Google's recommendation for everything is PMax.
Yeah.
They just want to take control away.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm sure it serves its purpose. It has its place, but the amount of control they give you to be able to optimize it is very limited. And I know they're heading down that whole AI road.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on PMax for a lot of our clients?
To be wary. So it's not to take it out completely and never use it. Like the whole purpose of PMax is more so I find for small businesses.
Yeah.
And it's like people that don't really understand marketing, they just want to get on there. They just want to chuck a couple images in, some headlines, and just let Google do it for them. And that's good for the small business. But yeah, when you have much larger, more technical accounts, you're spending over $100K a month, right? On ads, like you need those more detailed campaigns. You need to be able to break things out, and you can with PMax for it to an extent, right? You can break out assets, you can break out campaigns so they're PMax specific to certain categories, whatever you're selling, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a matter of like understanding what your account is, what the goal of the account is, and how you can utilize it. Because for some accounts, like we've used PMax and it's completely tanked the account and we've had to rebuild it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's situations where we've used it and it's like, it's amazing. Like it's the saving grace of the campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, the account, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a funny one that, needs to be watched.
I agree with that. I would say it definitely takes out the control you have from running a campaign, like in terms of optimizing it. I'd say it's definitely more for small business owners.
I find that for some of the accounts, like we've had accounts where PMax totally destroys the account, and we, even when we pause the PMax campaigns and re-enable search shopping, we can't get volume to fire through it again for
it's
a little while.
Weird glitches the whole account.
Yeah, it's like a weird account glitch where you just can't do anything with it. It doesn't get any volume.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I guess, is like the transparency in data from PMax. So there was obviously that popular script.
That you found before everyone else did.
Doing the rounds. It was published online. It was doing the rounds, which allowed you to sort of get more transparency in PMax insights. And what you find is the majority of the conversions, at least 90% plus, come from search / or shopping.
But it pushes to brand and video, which is really bad. Like, because as a business, like ideally your goal is, and your marketing team's goal should be to acquire new customers that haven't interacted with you before. Because you already have things in place to nurture those other customers that are originally
definitely. So I feel like, I don't know, I could be a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like there's KPIs within Google for their unutilized inventory on the Discovery Network, YouTube, whatever, all the stuff that is great for the sort of upper funnel marketing activities, but doesn't deliver that the bulk number of daily conversions. I feel like there's a KPI there to get more ad spend flowing through those networks.
No, definitely,
which is
why the reps are pushing it so hard as well.
The reps push it very hard.
They do.
They
like
push
everything just PMax.
They push it very hard, but I think I know for us at least, like we learn that we just do what's best for the client. Right. And where we see the result. And you get pressure. You definitely get pressure from Google, and you get pressure from the recommendations. But I think you just always have to do what's best and what's getting the best result for the client.
No, definitely, 100%.
Touching on PMax, you obviously have an array of different bidding strategies that we do, and everyone likes to do it differently. How do you like to start off any type of campaign? Whether it's search, PMax, what do you usually go with?
So I think it's more dependent on if the account has data. If that account has previous data, then I'm happy to start off with a max conversion or a target ROAS strategy. But just not setting an actual target CPA or target ROAS. Just letting it sort of be free.
Maximize conversions.
But if the account has no data, then typically I'll just set a max click strategy and just gather data, wait for those 30 conversions, and then switch it over to a smart bidding strategy.
Yeah, right. What about
That's
yourself?
cool. For me, like depending on the budget, like if there's money, I like duplicating the campaign and I'll run max clicks, max conversions side by side, give it like a week or two and then see which one performs better.
Interesting.
I do like max clicks.
Yeah.
Like on
Gets you the volume.
on so many instances,
Yeah.
when we've ran it side by side, a max conversion strategy,
Yeah.
like it's not uncommon to have it perform better and get
Yeah.
you a cheaper cost per lead.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works sometimes. Like,
Yeah. Recently, I actually tried running manual CPC
Yeah.
alongside of it.
Okay.
I just feel like you're always paying like extra freight on the CPC though. Like almost like they penalize you for running manual CPC. You always seem to be paying that bit more, even when you really go in and put like a lot of daily optimizations in place. You always pay more for the CPC.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But then it's like, would you rather like a $80 click and a conversion or like, 100 clicks at like $2 and then no conversions?
Yeah,
But
that's a good point.
So that's a trade-off for clients is that sometimes they're so fixated on the CPC, they don't think about the actual goal of like, all right, our goal is to get leads. What's the cost per lead? Is that person actually converting into a customer?
What about have you done much with like target impression share, things like that?
No, I haven't really done much target impression share. So it's a one that I've kind of steered away from. There's situations where like the clients come to us and they just want purely brand awareness.
Yeah.
And that's a great situation. But the bulk of the clients are ones that come to us that have specific goals that they want to reach in terms of revenue leads for their business. So I tend to steer away from impression share.
What about yourself?
Yeah, the same. I've only really used it once or twice. And just said it's like 90%, I guess. But again, like I tend to steer away from it as well.
I tend to use it on like brand campaigns where you have the issue of competitors bidding on client brands.
Yeah.
So like you get the request of so-and-so's bidding on the brand again, so-and-so's bidding on the brand again. So
Would you use it for bigger brands or would you use it for smaller brands?
bigger brands.
Bigger brands?
Yeah. I'm like target impression share 90% plus for the brand keyword. And just let that optimize. I think
It can be a lot more expensive.
it can be a lot more expensive, but if that's like a really sort of detrimental factor to the client, like they can't have anyone bidding on their brand, you kind of have no choice. Because you wouldn't run a CPA, and you could run max clicks, I guess. That could also work. But I have had some luck with target impression share with those brand campaigns.
Nice. Well, the opposite you could do is a manual CPC.
Manual
And then
CPC.
to reduce it, because a lot of clients, they come to us and they're like, oh, bro, why are you bidding on my name?
Yeah.
They already know who I am. They're going to come to me. But it's to protect yourself from competitors.
If you don't bid on it, someone else will.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
like, all that brand awareness work that you've put in place over the years to build up your brand is someone else can capitalize on that quite
definitely.
easily. Especially if you do, for brands that do like a lot of TV and radio, where people they would buy TV slots, buy radio slots, and then they would people would sort of recognize their brands a lot. They'd go and Google the exact brand. A lot of that is done to acquire the traffic much more cheaply. Or if you have a competitor bidding on that, they're capitalizing on your sort of media placements as well. So it's really important to
put in your brand.
to have those campaigns in place.
With that as well, with the update of their keyword match types, even if a competitor is bidding on like, let's say real estate, for example, and it's a phrase match type, it'll still be picking up search terms for like specific real estate agencies as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good to just have yourself covered.
Yeah, I think touching on keyword match types, that's I don't like the direction it's heading in. I don't know. What do you think?
We're losing control
Yeah.
with everything.
So much control.
They say exact match type, and then you see other keywords in there that are coming up. It's related, but still, like, bro, I just want to target that one thing.
Yeah, but even like, I had broad match types or even phrase match types. They're so loose.
So
They're so loose. Like I had a client that's a mechanic and mainly targeting just car service related keywords. So imagine you had something like car service set as a broad match. It was triggering keywords that were like respray my panel, replace my headlight.
Yeah.
And when you're getting those kinds of leads come in, how do you stop that?
Yeah.
It's difficult. And that's an important thing, like to make sure that you're going through your negatives. We get a lot of clients come to us and their accounts haven't been negged, and so they're paying for so many unrelated search terms. Like we had a client, for example, that sold macadamias, and then they were bidding on macadamia farms for sale. Like, there's a big difference. Like,
there's a big difference. I know everyone sort of has their own style of optimization, but how often do you go in and do your neg checks and
so
do those
if it's a brand new account and we've just built out campaigns, you'd want to go in every single day to make sure and see, okay, what's coming through, what can we neg out, and then before we even build and like launch those campaigns, we have a negative list of like just general terms to get rid of. So for example, if you're a tradie and you're a plumber, right, you're gonna a lot of search terms are going to come up for like certificates, like training, like jobs, salaries. So those are things you can immediately negative. But then, so when the campaigns start every day, and then once that's done, you've built it to a good point, it's optimized, you can go in once every month.
What about yourself?
I agree. Exactly.
I find that like lately, whenever I'm doing negs, it's always broad. I'm always putting them in as broad, right? You guys doing the same?
Oh, I do phrase.
Oh, you do phrase?
Yeah.
I do phrase as well.
Right.
Because sometimes broad can pick up a lot of really cool things that you never thought of.
Okay. Interesting.
Or maybe it's not. And I'm just like,
no, I do it mainly out of frustration.
Like
I'm just like, why are these keywords being triggered?
And
it was like I really liked the match type settings of old, like where broad was broad and exact was exact. Like we used to run like a few years ago, not that long ago, we would very rarely run broad, right? It'll be a phrase and an exact match. And we'd use exact to get the keyword quality score up really high. A phrase could capture the stuff around that, and we'd break that out into more exact match ad groups.
Now it's the opposite. They penalize you for exact and phrase, and it's just like
they just push broad.
I just think it comes back down to control and revenue for Google, which is really, really obvious now. Like you find that they don't. I mean, it is the top channel, but they don't have the client's best interest.
No, they don't.
At heart anymore.
And the reps, they're lovely people. They help us a lot, in some situations. But you go into the meetings with them, and I guess the issue that we kind of always have is like they just purely go off the recommendations tab. They don't understand the accounts like we do. And that takes time for them to understand. For sure. And if they don't have previous experience, then it's really hard to grasp. And then you kind of get stuck between them telling you to do recommendations and then the client being
there's no doubt that they have a framework they like need to follow, and they follow the overall strategy that Google is guiding them in. Where a lot of frustration comes in is they're guiding him into the spot where it's just follow the recommendations tab. And sometimes the frustrating bit is like, I wish they had more insight or support other than the recommendations tab. For example, if something happens with a client account, something gets disapproved, or you need a lot of support, it's hard to get that, but it's very easy to get ad recommendations tab support.
Like, we hope you spend more money, but if there's an issue, go away.
Contact support.
And support's never there.
So I guess, I mean, it's going to continuously evolve. That's the world we're in. You have to sort of play by that, and you have to get the best result out of what you have to work with. I think going on that, you would probably do a lot of work around ad creative more so these days. Split testing different RSA ads, things like that. How do you go about that in your strategy with sort of RSAs and things like that?
Yeah, so for me, like a big thing is looking at your competitors,
Yep.
seeing what they're doing, and then making sure it's different.
Yes.
Because when you go onto Google, like you look up a plumber, for example, every single plumber in Sydney is the best, number one, trusted, like 100% customer service. You know what I mean? Like, and they're all generic. There's no unique selling point. So just try and be different.
They
Think
all
outside the
unblock
box.
drains fast.
Sorry?
Every single plumber you talk to, we unblock drains the fastest.
We'll be there in 5 minutes. And really it's an hour. But
What about you?
No, I agree with that as well. Just making sure you sort of stand out from the rest.
Yeah.
But also sort of keeping your copy as relevant to your keywords as possible.
Yeah.
Just increase your click-through rates.
Yeah. Always increase the click-through rates. But I think it's also, I mean, now it's, I think 3 RSA ads per ad group maximum. You can't add any more than that, right?
No, you can't.
So it's always, I guess, the challenge is continuously updating different variants of the headlines, descriptions, things like that to try and identify.
To improve.
Doing that helps improve ad rank. But then also you need to look at yourself as a business and how you want to be perceived. And having less isn't necessarily a bad thing. So there's accounts that I have where I have less headlines, less descriptions because it's so specific, because they want to be perceived in a certain way, and the ad rank is shit, right? But then like the ad, when you actually launch it, it performs. So at the end of the day, do you want to please the meter and say, oh yeah, you're doing good, the ad looks good, or do you want leads? And that's the thing for me. So
no, I agree. I think the key takeaway is do what's best for the client. Get the best result you can. Regardless of the automated AI recommendation that comes through. I blatantly tell clients that. I tell them like, oh, what about this? Or Google said this or Google said that. I'm like, you know what? I don't really pay too much attention unless it's relevant and it's gonna make them more money. That's all I care about.
No, definitely, 100%.
Because that's what they employ us for, right?
100%.
So I think that's really important. But in saying that, I think like lately I've been seeing a lot more value in Bing.
True.
With all the stuff that's been going on with Google, all the changes that's been happening, trying to navigate that. It sort of has opened up a lot more opportunities for us in Bing, I think.
No, definitely,
and I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I reckon volume has been picking up in Bing.
Definitely, because more Android users.
Android?
Is it Android?
No, Android's Google. Android's Google.
Yeah.
I think Android's Google. No, more Microsoft users.
Okay.
Like they have the Bing ads now implemented into like Microsoft Office and things like that. So it's been been good.
We get a lot of clients come along and they're a bit wary of Bing because like they see, I don't know what they think, but they just like, I don't want to be on there, bro. I just want to be on Google. But Bing operates exactly the same as Google. There's a little bit less volume. The CPCs are cheaper. So at the end of the day, like if no one's searching, you're not spending. So you might as well be there in case someone is there.
100%.
And so it's a good way to pick up extra leads, and generally people on Bing are a bit older, so they have a bit more money, so good for tradies.
Higher quality lead.
No,
I couldn't have summed it up any better. Well, I think that's about it from my end. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to your most commonly asked questions?
No.
Something
right now. But we're going to be dropping more technical episodes.
We will.
So watch your space in terms of the PPC, ad optimization.
Typical PPC geeks. We aren't very social, but we'll do a very good job with your ads.
100%.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See you.